Welcome to the wrap up, my people. I'm your host, Eclectic Enigma, and this has been a very trying and sad and crazy week, so I'm here to make you laugh, and I'm here to make you think. So without further ado, let's get it rolling, because I gotta start it off with the Nilla Please Awards, people. So the first recipient of the Nilla Please Awards is none other than TV talk show host, Wendy Williams. Oh, it's Wendy Williams? Oh. Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams pissed a lot of people off with her comments about HBCUs. So Mr. Wendy said, and I quote, "I would be really offended if there was a school that was known as a historically white college. We have historically black colleges. What if it was the National Organization for White People Only? We have the NAACP." So after the audience remained silent and didn't get with her, Wendy went right on and continued to dig herself a deeper hole. And I quote, "Look, everybody's quiet. You're leaving me out here to dry by myself? One wrong word. I choose my words carefully." Now, pay attention. She said, "I choose my words carefully." That's going to be important a little bit later on, people. But what I am saying is racism sucks. And we can all do better in our households, educating ourselves and teaching our children to make it better. Now, I mentioned that last part because Wendy caught some backlash, of course, and she tried to give an apology. So let's hear what she had to say. "On yesterday's show, a lot of you misinterpreted some things I was saying regarding black schools being black. I will clarify again. Be very clear. I find nothing wrong with historically black colleges. My father graduated from Lincoln, which is a black college. My brother graduated from Virginia State. But my thought, in my mind, what I said to you is how I would feel if I were applying to colleges that were historically white. And that was part of the marquee selling to me to apply to the school." Now, she ended her apology by saying, "For the record, I am not Stacey Dash. For the record, I am a mighty proud black woman." So, you lied, Winfred Williams. You see, you're correct in the fact that you are not Stacey Dash, because Stacey Dash is a woman. A woman we don't like, but a woman. You, sir, are a strong black man. That's right, Hunty. You're a dude. An ignorant dude at that. Look at here. HBCUs exist because we were not allowed to go to their colleges at all. So we had to come up with some way for us to further our education. And furthermore, they go to our colleges now. And they went to them then. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's stopping them or saying they can't go. They just got the HBCU label because they opened up for us to be able to further our education. And because you don't ever do any research and you just like to sit your strong black man self up there in that little bitty chair that you barely fit in with them size 72 shoes you got, and just blah, 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 with your esophagus and your Adam's apple just working extra overtime, if you would have done research, you would have known that stuff. So as one person stated, you really are just mad at HBCUs because they didn't give you a football scholarship. All we're saying, Mr. Wendell, is don't speak on things that you hadn't researched and you absolutely have no idea about. Or you might have forgot because you got a little bit of fame, a little taste of fame. Also, don't come back with fake apologies after people decide they want to boycott you for being ignorant and stupid. Because you already said, and I quote, "I choose my words carefully." Well, just know that we choose our vision carefully, and we will not be tuning into your show. And we choose our dollars carefully too. And you won't be getting any of them from any advertisements. Now, if somehow Black America forgives you and you recover, Mr. Wendell, I got the perfect theme song for your new show.
Go ahead, Mr. Wendell. Mr. Wendell, yeah. Yeah, Mr. Wendell.
Nilla, please. Now, the next award goes out to the cheese dip stabbings, or the Rotel stabbings, as I like to call them, happened here in Memphis, where I am now. So what happened with this Rotel stabbing? A woman kept spilling this cheese dip, and a lady by the name of Yolanda Tucker got pissed about it. So her boyfriend gave her a knife, and then she went to fighting for that Rotel.
All my life I had to fight.
I done had some mean Rotel in my day, but I ain't never wanted to stab nobody over it at all, period. I wasn't fighting for no Rotel dip. You know, if it's gone, I missed out. So if the couple was in cahoots and wanted to hurt this woman over some Rotel dip, I'm guessing they were trying to use the remaining Rotel for something a little extracurricular in the bedroom.
I'm fed, feeling X-rated. It's Mr. Nasty time.
Oh, Mr. Nasty time.
Hello, please. The next award goes out to this lady from Florida. People from Florida give me pause, on the real. Florida the state, and then people from Florida. Mr. Wendell, you need to get your people. A woman was arrested in Louisiana because she went into a Kia dealership. She said she was the manager, and then she attempted to fire people. Yes, you heard me correctly. She attempted to fire people. She thought she was Vince McMahon.
You're fired! Screw you! You're fired!
Now, the employees knew that she was full of crap, so they basically said to her,
Don't even say nothing to me, boy! You look like a motherfucking
They called the police, and when the police came, she realized that she didn't want this imaginary position where she had to fire people anymore. So she basically told them,
And as for this job, well, not that I have a choice, but fuck it, I quit.
hello, please. Now that we got the funny out the way, let's get to the heavy, my people. This week has been a week that America won't soon forget. Rapper Lecrae made some people mad on July 4th when he tweeted out a picture. It was a picture of African Americans picking cotton, and he said, "My family" on July 4th. Some of his fans accused him of stirring the pot. The racism pot. The problem is the truth hurts. That is what his family was doing on July 4th. And the fact that you don't want to acknowledge that has nothing to do. He didn't tweet that for your feelings. He tweeted that so you could recognize that although America was free, blacks were doing the same thing that they were doing before. On July 5th, the candidate running for governor in Missouri was selling fake ISIS hunter permits so he can get funds for his campaign. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. A candidate running for governor in Missouri was selling fake ISIS hunting permits, and he ran out because so many people wanted to buy them. Some of you see nothing wrong with this, but let me explain why this is a problem. You see, a lot of people relate ISIS to Muslims and believe that all Muslims are a part of ISIS. What happens when one of these psychos that bought one of these fake permits, these fake bumper stickers that go on your car, and decides to go shooting Muslims or killing Muslims because he thinks he gets to hunt ISIS? And he's too idiotic to know that they aren't the same. They're not synonymous at all. Then you have the attorneys for Dylan Roof. You know, the terrorist that killed some people in a South Carolina church? Yeah, him. They're trying to get dismissal of his case. Now, after all of that goes on, you then have the murder of Alton Sterling, a man that was selling CDs at a store, and he was murdered on camera, caught from two different angles. And not even 48 hours later, Philando Castile was murdered in his car after being stopped because the officer said he pulled him over for having a broken taillight. He let the officer know that he was an open carry person and he was getting ready to get his ID because that's what the officer told him to do. He ends up shot, and then his girlfriend live streams the aftermath on Facebook. Now, I won't be playing the videos and showing the gunshot victims or any of that kind of thing with the bloody shirts, and I'm not traumatizing you anymore. The media has done enough of that already. In the case of Philando Castile, the officer lied to them while he pulled them over. He actually believed that they were people in a robbery. The audio came out after the fact that when he called in, he said that he's going to pull them over because he matched the description of a robbery suspect that had a wide nose. I don't know what kind of goddamn vision he has where he can look into a car and see that this guy had the wide nose matching the description of a robbery suspect from a couple days ago, but hey, maybe he's Superman. Then you add in the fact that Philando had been pulled over 52 times in the last 14 years. 52 times. A majority of the charges were dropped because they were pulling him over, so quite frankly, for some bullshit. Now, I'm trying not to curse, but that's what it was. Bullshit. Muffler too loud or whatever the case may be. Just pulling them over. Which is harassment. Which is profiling. Which is targeting. Because they were trying to find something on this young man. And to top that off, Philando worked at a school in the cafeteria where he knew all the kids' names. He knew each and every kid's allergy. And he's going to be missed. So after the killing of 2 black men back to back, people once again took to the streets because they were hurt, they were scared, they were tired, they were angry, and they want change. They want justice. And unfortunately in Dallas, somebody took justice into their own hands and they shot 11 officers and 5 officers ended up dying. The Dallas PD tweeted a picture while they were looking for the suspect, and it happened to be a guy that was innocent. He was peacefully protesting and he was carrying his firearm, which in that state he's allowed to do. And they left this picture up even after social media saved his life, because they did. I'm pretty sure they would have killed him because they blew up the other guy who was an actual shooter with a bomb. No trial, nothing. They took a robot went in, blew this guy up. But it took them a long time to pull the incorrect suspect's photo down. And if they had done any kind of police work, they would have seen that when the shooting started, he was just standing there like everybody else. So thank God social media saved this guy's life, because who knows? They could have said he was a killer too. To top that off, there were 2 officers involved in the shooting of Alton Sterling, which I talked about earlier, and they said he pulled out a gun and that's why they shot him, but of course the video came out and the gun was in his pocket. So they lied about that. Let me say this. People are angry, and rightfully so. They're worried about their sons, their husbands, their brothers, their uncles, their cousins being able to come home, because they don't know if they're going to be the next hashtag, they're going to be the next face on the t-shirt, they're going to be the next person to spark a protest. Black women are afraid to have sons, and they're afraid for the sons they already have, and honestly, it's rightfully so. And I'm also going to say this. With that said, Black Lives Matter and people wanting change do not in any way condone the murder of the officers in Dallas. So how do we get it to where policing is the same for every color? Because it's not. How do we get it to where if I'm pulled over and I'm licensed to carry, I'm not automatically assumed to be a threat to an officer because I'm just exercising my Second Amendment right? When will the Second Amendment work for everybody the same way and not just white males? When will the NRA speak out against what happened to Mr. Philando Castile for exercising his right? Because I don't know if you noticed or saw it, but members of the NRA are not for that crap either. They spoke out against the NRA for not speaking up for this man who was exercising his right to end up dead because of it. And to bring forth change, we're going to have uncomfortable conversations. When I talk to you about racism and issues affecting the black community, don't come to me and tell me that I need to be an officer to see how they feel. Because if I told you you needed to be a black man in America to see how I feel, you're going to think I'm full of shit. But it doesn't work like that. You see, being black in America is something that you aren't going to be able to experience. You just want black people to stay in their place, stay where they are, accept things how they are, and quit stirring this pot. Let me explain something to you. Some of you believe that when Barack Obama became president, he's brought this country in a downward spiral and he's made racism worse. No. He didn't do a damn thing like that. And you might not agree with some of his policies, but let me explain something to you. When he won the presidency, membership in the KKK rose. I'm going to say it again. When he won the presidency, not when he actually was sworn in to start doing his presidential duties. When he won it, membership in the KKK rose up. So he wasn't even in office yet. And white males were already having an issue with a black man running the country. And some of you think that you put him in that place, like black, Latino, women, and anybody else that wasn't a white male, like their vote did not count. He was put in there by America. He won by Americans voting, not because white males let him get in that place. We need healing and we need action. The bloodshed needs to end on both sides. There are great officers who care about their community and want to bring forth change and want open dialogue. And there are people in Black Lives Matter, the vast majority of Black Lives Matter people who are actually for the movement want change, and they don't want bloodshed. They just want justice. And I will end my show with this. Bringing forth change requires action. What actions are needed for people in this country to see that Black lives matter? What actions are needed for the police officers to be able to do their job without profiling? What actions are needed so that when I get pulled over, I don't have to keep my hands on the steering wheel and say a prayer before the officer even gets out the car that this is not going to be my hashtag moment? What actions are needed so that police officers can do their job, and when a death does occur in the Black community, that we rally together and this whole no snitching thing is dead, and whoever did it goes to jail? Can we discuss these things? Sound off in the comments. So that's the wrap up, people, and hopefully I'll see you next week and things will be a whole lot less bloody. It's going to take time for change to come in America, but if we're willing to work together, if we're willing to sit down and discuss and have these hard conversations, and if both sides are willing to listen, then this might just be the home of the free. See y'all next week.